This is Jason's Electronics Repair. Welcome to my ER. Today we are looking at some reballing of some Max ICs from the Nintendo Switch. I don't have a stencil for one, so we're going to look at other options for stencils or a way we can modify the current stencil to fit the chip. And then I have a larger Max IC that I do have a stencil for, and we're going to reball that. So let's just take a look at this one is, let me turn it around so I can read it. This one is Max 77628A. And then this one is should know these off the top of my head, but I don't. 77621. So first, these are pulled off a donor board. These are working, so I need to reball them and put them in my container. But to do that, I need to get the old solder off. So currently it has unleaded solder on the chips. We're going to do the little one first here. Okay, we're going to do this one first. We're going to use my micro pencil, and we're going to put it at a little bit of leaded solder on the tip and drag it over the chip. So I'm gonna get a little bit of flux here. So wee bit of flux on there. Get some fume extraction going here. Okay. Now I'm going to get my micro pencil. This is a Hacko FM 2032 micro pencil with the 0.6 millimeter conical tip. I'm just going to dip my iron in a little bit of solder paste, grab the chip, and hover this ball of solder paste over this chip. And you see how the ball gets larger because I'm picking up all the solder that was on the chip. And I'm switching it over to leaded so it'll clean up easier. So there we go. So that's that. Clean off my iron. Dip a little bit of solder on it and keep the tip good. Now we have that there. We're going to clean it off a little bit with a Q-tip and some flux remover. That chip looks a little bit burnt. I don't know if that's flux or not. It's burnt on that chip or not. That's coming off. Okay, so that was burnt flux. Now if you look at this chip on an angle, you see how it's pretty flat. So when I add paste to that, I'm not going to have to wick it. The paste is going to fill the gaps nicely. So that chip is done. So I'm going to move that over here. And I'm going to come in here with my other chip. And I'm going to get some flux on it. Get my micro pencil. Dip a little bit of solder on it. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to change all these over to leaded. If my ball gets too big, I will put it in the little brillo brush. And then I will give me a little bit of solder. And I'll slowly work over these just to damp these pads down. And you can use a larger iron for this, that's fine. Need a little bit more flux there. And I'll show you what I mean. You can take a larger iron, like this is my Hakko FM 2027. That goes, and then I can just hover over it too, just like so. And let's clean this chip off. That is some nasty flux. I don't recommend that flux. It's cheap. It's not King though. I recommend King though. Yeah. See, I got a bunch of bridges there. So let me add some more flux. That's why I like doing it with the micro pencil, because I don't get those little bridges like I do with the bigger iron. Some more flux. Yeah, that flux is garbage. I'm going to clean that off, and I'm going to switch to my Chip Quick. I find the Chip Quick better than that. It's supposed to be Amtech, but I don't believe that it is, and I've never been a fan of Amtech anyways. So I'm going to switch over to my Chip Quick. So this is Chip Quick SMD 291. Yeah, I'm still getting issues. Okay, well, I'm gonna wick this. We should have a good reason for wicking. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a little bit more flux to the chip. I'm gonna take my braid and a pair of non-marring tweezers. And I'm going to braid this chip here. Yeah, it looks like some of the mask is missing from the chip. In that area. Might have to save this one for another video. Yeah, I have solder mask exposed here. So I'm going to save this revolve for another video that I can so I'm going to save this for another video where I can show you how to repair the solder mask on the bottom of these and then reball them. So I want to put that chip aside, and then I'm going to get my other chip that I cleaned up successfully. That was an old chip anyways. I'm not even 100% sure it's good. I pulled it from a donor board to reball it. I think I may have even reballed it once. So, alright, so there is our chip there. All right, there's our chip on our paper towel. Let's zoom in a little bit there. All right, there is our chip. So let's see if we can find a stencil. So I have some iPhone stencils here to look at. The stencils that come with the switch, doesn't have, let me switch it over here. This one right here doesn't have the cutout for that, so you have to use this Max one. But I'm gonna see if I have a closer one with one of these iPhone stencils from Q Lee. So we'll look here. So it's four wide. What is that one? That one's 5, so I need a 4 wide. And just breeze through these real quick. There's a 4 wide. I don't think it's long enough now. So that's a 4 by 5. This one is 1, 2, 3. So I need a 4 by 7. Nope, that was not going to be it. No. It's 4 by 5 again. Possibly use this one. Nope, that's 5. It's out. Alright, so none of these work. Let's go back under the scope here. None of those iPhone stencils work, so we're going to have to modify the actual stencil that came with the switch, or came for the switch. So it's going to be this one right here. This one right here is the right pitch, but we need to mark off a 4 by 7 spot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this up with some alcohol. Clean that up, give it a little hit with some air duster to get any of the fibers out of it. Okay, so there we go. So what I need to do is I need to mark off with some Kapton tape a 4 by 7 area. So I'm going to get a piece of Kapton tape here. I'm going to come in here. So I want 4 holes this way exposed. So we have 4 that way. So we have that piece down. So we have that piece, and now we need seven across. So I'm going to put the chip in the corner here. So let's just see how that looks so far. All right. Man, it is tough finding these things underneath the microscope sometimes. So we gotta block off 3, it looks like. Yep, 3. So we need to block off 3. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna drop stuff everywhere. I'm gonna get myself another piece of Kapton tape. Or Capiton tape. Watch me lose this chip in the process. So come under here. A microscope. We need to block off 3. All right, there we go. So there we go. There's that. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the chip. I'm going to center it for you guys. Get it off my tweezers are sticky. And I'm going to get my other tweezers I use to hold down stencils. And I'm going to line this up here. So I'm going to line this up like that. Okay, so there's that right there. I'm going to keep my finger on it to hold it down. And I'm going to get some of my solder paste out here. This is Chip Quick SMD 291. I have a little spreader. Don't need much. So all right. So now that I have that on there, I'm going to take a wipe and wipe away the excess. Just wipe away the excess so it doesn't flow everywhere and ruin the chip. So there we go. So now my hot air is set to 280 at 60 liters per minute. It is a quick FX or quick 861 DW with a 8mm nozzle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat up this stencil to warm it up, and I'm going to slowly dry that flux that's in the solder paste. Wow, I'm having a hard time with the words here. So I'm going to let that dry out, let that flux. Now I'm going to slowly come in here. And I'm going to make them all balls. And I'm going to let that sit for a second to solidify. And I'm going to come in here, lift up my stencil, and pop my chip off. And there you have it. And what I can do is I can add a dab of flux. Not what I can do, it's what you should do. Add just a dab of flux. Get you back in shot here. Oh, keeping this in shot is insane. Okay, so there we go. So now I'm going to come back in and I'm just going to reflow them all. There we go, and they all lined up nice and pretty. They all jumped into place. And that is how I do it. So they're nice and pretty, nice and even, ready to go on the board. And I didn't have a stencil the exact size. I tried to find one similar in another type of stencil, like an iPhone stencil, but no luck there. So I modified the stencil that I had for the other Max IC. I modified it to fit the chip with some Kapton tape. I will make a separate video on solder masking the damage to the other chip. I noticed it has a chunk taken out of it too, so it'll just be for, you know, demonstration and teaching purposes to show you guys how to solder mask that stuff. That's going to do it for this video, guys. You can catch me out on social media. You want to support the channel, there are links in the description. All my tools are listed there, and links for Amazon. I do get a portion of that, but you don't pay any extra. Well, thank you guys so much, and have a fantastic day.